Welcome back to BetX, and it's time for us to talk about these NBA trap teams. Now, a lot of times when we're looking at bets, we may see some teams that are a sure thing until they're not, right? And we're going to try to go through this and figure out what you need to look for so you don't get caught out there. Now, first, you look at the bottom 5 teams' records versus the bottom 5 teams against the spread. They don't even match up. It's pretty weird. Does this matter when trying to figure out trap teams?
It does. Looking at the teams, I've been on a team. I was on the Bucks when they had the league worst 12 wins. Giannis was on that team. Yeah. So there's usually talent there. So that's why it's always interesting to see like the straight up and against the spread kind of favorites. But yeah.
Well, what do you see about the teams on the right, Henson? Those are all popular teams.
Yeah,
which means they get overvalued.
Yeah, yes.
And then they got guys like Luka on them. Heat culture.
Yep.
The Hawks add DeJounte Murray. LeBron and the Lakers, the Lake Show, right? So when the number comes out, people bet on them. The perception of those teams typically gets inflated, so they have a hard time covering the number. The teams on the left, no one has faith in anyway.
Right.
So they get better number, they get better value, and that's sometimes why it might feel ugly, it might not be comfortable, but you gotta take some of those bad teams in the NBA when the number gets too inflated.
Yeah, not to mention with the advent of the three-point shot and how much people are using it nowadays, it's not as easy to lock into like a +9. Like that could be erased in the final 2 minutes of garbage time with a few threes, and then backdoor covers happen. So
yeah, I mean it's a team full of professionals, and they're men, they are prideful, and at the end of the day, you're not going to consistently beat a team that's predicted to lose by double-digit points. Football, basketball, baseball, it's just what it is, man. These are the best players in the universe.
All right, so let's see if the Orlando Magic can beat the trap team allegations, right? They have a 13-24 record, and they're 19-17-1 against the spread. How confident are you in betting on the Magic?
After a win, they're 10-2 against the spread. So maybe after a win, I would maybe look at them, but definitely one of those trap teams. They kind of skewed a little bit because they went on a winning streak, but as of late, they've been playing well and they've been covering.
It's interesting that after a win, they're 10-2 against the spread because a lot of systems and a lot of people kind of run that zigzag method, right? Orlando won last night. They got to travel. They're getting ready to get smoked.
Yep.
And then they come out and it's actually a closer game than a lot of people think. It's all situational. It depends on, I talked about it earlier this week. You have to find motivation, especially regular season motivation when you're betting NBA midweek. Why would Orlando show up in Phoenix on Wednesday? Like, find that why, try to match up the numbers with the matchup, and then potentially find a bet on the Magic.
All right, let's talk about the Hornets. They're 10-28 straight up, and they're 16-20-2 against the spread. Do you think the Charlotte Hornets are a trap team to bet against?
Definitely a trap team because you got LaMelo just coming back. Kelly Oubre's a leading scorer. Gordon Hayward's coming back. They got a lot of young guys. Hornets are the classic stay-away team because you just don't know. It's literally a coin flip.
And now Oubre is out 4 to 6.
Yep.
That just got announced. I have a hard time finding. I actually like Memphis tonight versus the Hornets -7, 7.5, depending on where you see it. I know the Grizzlies have been really bad on the road, but I think this is a good spot for them to pick up a double-digit win. I don't know how they're going to score. Unless Lonzo Ball scores 40 and Terry Rozier scores 40, they're going to have a hard time scoring. Plumlee's not going to get you a lot of buckets. So this is a tough team to back, especially because there's offensive possessions where Ball just kind of runs up and does whatever he wants. It's not a lot of – and then Rozier's like, I got to get my shots up. So I would avoid betting on the Hornets. They have a hard time scoring the basketball.
I'll stay away from them.
All right, let's talk about the Thunder. The Thunder are 16-21 and have a 22-15 record against the spread, 4th best in the NBA. SGA is one of the top scorers this season.
Yeah.
Do you consider the Thunder a trap team?
I wouldn't say they're a trap team because we've been talking about the Thunder since, every time you look at the box, we're like, hold on, they in the game against them, or they just beat them. So even last night when they beat the Celtics by 33. The Hornets, I love kind of playing, especially if it's a higher spread, +6.5, +7. They've kind of corrected it now. They're not really high that much, but I love the Thunder, man.
Yeah, no, they're not a trap spot because if you're paying attention, you should know that they're one of the best teams against the spread in the NBA. They have Shea, who's scoring 31 plus, almost 32 points a game. They have Lou Dort. They have a lot of young guys that come out and play. That's their why. They're just young, playing ball, showing up every night. So they shouldn't catch you as a trap team. Like, they should be, because, like, historically, and who's on the roster, and you look at them, they're playing the Celtics. That's what they should get smoked. They come out and show up. They also play really well against the spread without Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Right.
Take a look at that as well.
Good system.
Yeah. Well, finally, the Raptors, 16-21, also straight up, and they're 18-19 against the spread. Do you consider the Raptors a trap team?
Because they started off the season actually like killing it, against the spread, winning games in Toronto. I think as the season is going along, teams are a little tired, not going out as much in Toronto. And the Raptors have been dealing with injuries, and they're trying to figure out their identity. But there's definitely the Raptors are a trap team because they're not the Raptors of old with the Lowry and Kawhi. So their betting market is still adjusting to what they are now.
I think this is a trap team. I think the culture around them, they're very similar to the Miami Heat. Great organization, great coach, veteran-laden squad, but this team overall isn't very good. Without Pascal Siakam, who has been playing out of his mind all year, looks like he's trying to push. I think his big goal is to be an MVP type of thing.
Right.
He has that type of mindset. When he doesn't play well, this is a really bad team. He's been carrying them, and I think historically people have been looking at these guys like, good organization, they can get it done, and then you're betting on them and they're not covering the number.
All right. That is our NBA trap teams.